I was 22 years old, living in Spain with my then boyfriend, now my husband. He had just been offered the opportunity of a lifetime head chef at a new restaurant. Two rich white guys had built a restaurant right by the riverbank. A beautiful idea, but let's be real, it was more dirt than sand. They wanted him to create the menu, run the kitchen, and make it a success. And I was excited because this was his dream. But here's the catch. The restaurant was in a tiny village on top of a mountain. Sounds cool, right? Except I was a black woman born and raised in a big city in England, moving from Albacete to a remote village. Yeah, I had my fears. Now you might be wondering, what's wrong with being black in a small village? Oh, a number of things. But love makes you do wild things, so we packed up and moved. We thought this would be our biggest success. It became our worst nightmare. Want to know what happened? Like and follow for part 2.
So, we had been living in the village for 6 months now. Me, still surviving with my basic Spanish, sí, no, and hola. And let me tell you, I was starting to hate being there. Remember when I said that being black in a small village doesn't mix? Well, here's why. At first, people would just look at me. No big deal, right? I was used to those quick glances, the ones where people look away the moment you catch them. But here? The staring never stopped. It wasn't a curious glance. It was the kind of stare that followed me from one end of the street to the other, like I was something they'd never seen before. And honestly, I don't think they had. Now let's talk about the village. There were 2 bars, one that opened whenever it felt like it, and the other that was always open. And of course, the 2 restaurants where my husband worked. That was pretty much it. At some point, I just had to laugh. I started joking that I was a unicorn, because to these white folks, I might as well have been the first black person they'd ever seen. Want to hear more? Like and follow for part 3. One night, we decided to go out, grab some food, and check out the neighborhood. Not that there was much to see, it was a tiny village with barely anything to do. We picked a restaurant, but the vibe? Oh, it was dead silent. So quiet you could hear a pin drop. And I started noticing a pattern. Before we even got to the door, you could hear people inside, talking, laughing, shouting. But the second we touched the door handle, silence. It was like the whole village was sending a message. We don't like you here. And I won't lie, it wasn't just me. They treated my boyfriend the same way. You see, there's this thing. City folks versus village folks. And in this place, the villagers stuck together. Like and share for part 4. The big surprise? I got a puppy. He was so tiny he could fit in the palm of my hand. To be honest, at first, I thought he was a rat. But nope, just a very small puppy. And honestly, he became the best distraction from the reality of living in that village. But let's be real, things weren't actually getting better. My husband was still working like a slave in the restaurant, and I had started working in an English academy in Albacete. I remember getting the job offer and telling my boss, who was a woman, that I had never worked with kids before. She, of course, lied and told me, "Oh, the kids are amazing and the staff is so supportive." Yeah, that was complete bullshit. The kids? Rude. And since I had no experience, the materials I was given were way too difficult for them, but no one warned me. And the staff? Let's just say they made it very clear they weren't going to help me. Once again, I was the outsider. Like and share for part 5.
Still me, still in the village, but at least my puppy, let's call him Panty, is thriving. His potty training is getting better, and honestly, he's the best thing about this place. The villagers, though, still awful. Oh, and I forgot to mention, before my husband and I even decided to keep Pante, a village kid actually returned him to us. Said his mom told him he wasn't allowed to have a dog. Now, my husband wasn't really into the idea of getting a dog, especially a small one. But then, we overheard the kid's next plan. He thought the best way to look after the puppy was to take him down to the river and just keep him there. No joke. That was the plan. Luckily, my husband was listening behind the door. He stepped out, took the puppy from the kid, and that's how Pante became ours for good. But trust me, you won't believe what the villagers said about that. Like and share for part 6.
So, what did this crazy village do next? Well, a kid went to his mom and told her that we cooked and ate the dog. Yes, you heard that right. These people actually spread a rumor that we ate our own puppy. Thankfully, at the time, we had a roommate who also worked at the restaurant and was a close friend. And trust me, with all the enemies we already had, it was a blessing to have someone on our side. One day, he came to us, pissed off, and said, People are saying you ate the dog. And why, you ask? Well, apparently they saw smoke coming from the extractor fan, and they didn't see the puppy that morning. Now let's not forget, Panty was still a tiny puppy with no vaccinations, so we kept him inside to protect him. But logic? Yeah, that didn't seem to exist in this village. Our roommate was so mad that he grabbed the puppy, stormed outside, and started yelling, "El perro está vivo! Look, the dog is alive!" Now I know what you're thinking. Girl, why didn't you just leave that village? Don't worry, we're getting there. Part 7 coming soon. Like and subscribe. Now let's talk about the restaurant. It had a lot of problems. Why? Because we never worked as a team. There was zero communication. The worst days? Weekends, packed with people, total chaos. And somehow, every time things went wrong, it was always me or my husband's fault. Working there felt like a screaming match. People frustrated, no one communicating, and me, completely lost, wondering what the actual problem was. One day, customers were waiting over an hour for their food. Another day, the boss walked in and just stared at us. No words, just judgment. And no matter how hard we tried to fit in, it became painfully obvious. They did not want us there. But honestly, the job wasn't even worth it. My husband was working 7 days a week, running 2 restaurants, all for €2,000 a month. And to top it off, his team had zero respect for him. Yeah, we were done. Like and subscribe for part 8. I never talked about the house we were renting in the village. Now, in Spain, you can find some great rental homes, well-maintained, modern, comfortable, and then there are houses like ours. It was old, cool in the summer, freezing in the winter, and had no heating system. The layout? Weird. 2 rooms downstairs, and an unfinished room upstairs that looked like it was abandoned mid-construction. Honestly, I was embarrassed to even show the place to anyone, let alone invite my family over. But hey, at least it had a small garden and a chicken coop. Before we got our dog, Pante, we had 3 chickens, 2 brown, 1 white. And I thought, you know what? Let's get into the village spirit. So there I was, a black woman raising chickens in the middle of a tiny Spanish village. Sounds peaceful, right? Wrong. Those chickens hated me. Every time I went to feed them, they attacked me. Do you even know what a chicken attack looks like? They circle you, watching, waiting. Then suddenly they jump up, flapping their wings like tiny demons. That's when I realized these chickens weren't worth it. They ate so much but only gave us 2 eggs. And the poop? Everywhere. But don't worry, we didn't eat them. We found them a nice home with another family who had a proper chicken coop. And that was the end of my chicken raising adventure. Like and subscribe for part 9. By this point, my husband was done. He wanted to speak with the boss, but guess what? The boss didn't want to talk to him. So my husband said, "If you don't come and talk to me, I'm leaving." The boss must have thought he was bluffing or something. But nope, my husband was serious. That day he walked out and never looked back. And the workers? Oh, they were thrilled. Like they had finally completed some little mission to get rid of him. Me? Oh, I was ecstatic. Anywhere, literally anywhere, was better than being stuck in this lame-ass village. Then, my husband's phone started ringing. He ignored it. It was the boss's nephew or cousin or something. You know how these family-run businesses work. This guy thought he could win my husband back with his charm. But my husband? He wasn't buying it. He started saying, "Don't get angry, think about what you're doing." Oh, so now they want him to think? Did they ever think about how they had him working 7 days a week, non-stop, with zero support? With a team that didn't respect him and only cared about themselves? Yeah, we were done.
And just like that, we were out. We moved to Albacete, and honestly, I don't miss that village at all. Even when I leave the city for something, I have zero desire to ever go back. Now here's the funny part. After we left, they found another chef. And guess what? He saw exactly what was going on, and didn't even last a week before quitting. Some people have moved away since, and as for the restaurant, honestly, I never bothered to check if it's still open or shut down. And that, my friends, is the end of my crazy 10-part story about living in that village. If you enjoyed this, check out my YouTube channel for more videos like this.